Thank you for coming, my friend. Cameras have officially turned on. This is Burn the Ship, the goal of Burn Ship podcast. We want to connect entrepreneurs with professionals that can help you go all in on your business, right? We want to talk to people that have walked the walk, talked the talk, experienced all the things that we experience as small business owners. We want to take some of those traits and skills. We want to pass it back to the community of people that are new to this, right? So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your business, and most importantly, thank you for coming. I appreciate it very, very much.
Thank you for having me. It's definitely a huge opportunity for me to be here today. My name is Laverne Martin. I am the CEO of EDDG Creative in Douglasville. I'm a designer that's been designing over 20 years. I've been in the industry through its ups and downs, its very discouraging points. Now I have a creative agency. I have 1099 employees now. We're really starting to go into the stratosphere, and this is a new time in our whole business.
Sure.
First time.
So tell me a story, right? I want to learn I want to know kind of your story, like your background, right? And I want to know about, kind of those periods in your industry. Like, while you're giving me that story, tell me, like, was this a downturn of your industry and why, and kind of as it's gotten up and kind of where you are now?
Okay, yeah. So the way it started is I've been a designer from heart. I've been drawing since I was 3 years old. I won drawing contests. I went to school for digital arts and animation. And when I came out of school, I was top of my class. Had some really good success with film festivals and everything with motion graphics. And I used 3D Studio Max to make 3D models and everything. I did really well. But none of my teachers never told me how competitive the industry was.
Sure.
And they didn't teach me in school about entrepreneurship, right? They taught me, hey, you want to do really well and then probably work for a big production house, right? Like Blur Studios or something like that. And I was just like, okay. So I tried to get in there and no luck whatsoever. So then
One of those things you need 5 years of experience for, when nobody will hire you.
I don't even know what you need, because even when you have 5 years experience,
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, you didn't work for any big production house, or if you work for a big production house, you cost too much, or it's always a reason why
Yeah.
they weren't giving it to you. It's all about who you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Pretty much. So what happened after that is I took job after job. I was everywhere from I was a buyer for retail to a janitor, and that was my last job. And when I was a janitor, that was the last one that made me really be like, you know what, this is just not my life. This is not what my life is supposed to be. And I met this wonderful woman. Her name was Alexa St. Just at the time. And we were dating, and she saw me creating a Audi A4 on the screen. And she was like, oh, what you doing, playing video games? And I said, no, I created that. And she was like, you made that? How did you make that? Like, it looks like a toy. And I was like, well, I took a block and I molded it. She was like, are you crazy? I had just lost my job. I was in the dumps. And she was like, why are you even working for people? Like, I don't understand. Why are you not working for yourself? She was like, listen, you have all this managerial experience. You can get a job at anywhere. Why don't you just go and see who will pay you for your services? I was like, you know what? Let's give it a shot, right? What do I have to lose? I went to a main street in my town, and I went from business to business to business down this main street. Somebody decided to give me a chance. So when that person gave me a chance, I was like, you know what? I'm going to knock this out the park, because if this person was to give me a chance and people were to see this, it's going to lead to more business. Well, that's exactly what happened. So I was freelancing for years. That one guy I did that work for, then that one guy turned into 2 turned into 5 turned into 10, 300.
Where did you live at this time?
I lived in New York.
Oh, okay, cool.
So New York is very rough.
So Main Street.
Yeah,
Main Street.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I ended up with 300 clients.
Oh, wow.
After that,
300 clients is crazy.
yeah, it is. It's very daunting.
Yeah.
It's a lot. At the time, that lady who I told you about was now my fiance. And we were living together, and my office was literally the kitchen table.
Nice.
That was my office. And, me starting the business, becoming a freelancer, we got our wedding was almost paid for fully through barter system. Videographer was paid for through my skills. The DJ was paid for through my skills. So then I started realizing that I have something to offer. Like, I have skill. And after that, we started saving for a house in Georgia. We came to Georgia. And
that was 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, all those years in New York, I got one opportunity, real big opportunity. I did something for the New York Giants, and that came towards my end of my stay in New York. So 20 years later.
Wow.
And I come here, and I will tell you, Georgia has shown me so much love. 2 weeks after I came here, somebody gave me a project for the NBA draft.
Wow.
So it took me 20 years in New York. It takes me 2 weeks here in Georgia. So ever since then,
Imagine what LA's like.
Oh man, it's crazy. It must
Yeah.
be, right. I still
Gotta
haven't been
be.
to Cali yet, so
Gotta be.
I'm planning on going.
I've been there, unbusiness related. That's for sure. It was unbusiness related.
So long story short, at the end of all that, I came here. I was looking for a job to start off right away, just to get my feet wet, and I couldn't get a job, which was shocking. But the shocking thing about it is I think I wasn't meant to have a job. I was always meant to be my own boss and be an entrepreneur. So one of the people I was designing vehicle wraps for was like, hey, I have an office. Do you want? And that's John, by the way, John of Infinite Wraps. He gave me the opportunity. He told me X amount of money every month was very affordable. And I took him up on his offer, and ever since then it's been uphill. Like we haven't really had any bad situations, any really bad months. So
Sure. So what's it like for you now? What's your day to day like? Where do you go and hunt for people in Atlanta?
Really, to tell you the truth, I got smart with the whole sales thing, right? So I
love
used to
that.
do sales myself. I used to go out, try to get clients, but then I said, how can I scale my business, right? Why not try to talk to some people who are already doing that and see if I can offer them anything? So I got in touch with one of the PR ladies that worked for one of my clients, and I said, hey, if you do any PR for me, you bring me X amount of sales, I'll give you 20%. She was like, 20%? I said, as long as you meet that number, I'll give you 20%. I'm not a greedy person. I know that it takes money to make money.
For sure.
Right? So
Yeah, we talked about that on the phone the first time that we talked.
yes,
High commissions it does something to incentivize people.
exactly.
It's different.
Especially if you eat what you kill, right? If that's what you do.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, all right, so you're already doing this, right? And let's say you're doing real estate. I try to talk to everybody who's in the sales market. Hey, if you're in real estate, listen, I'm not asking you to go knock on doors or whatever. While you're doing real estate, say, hey, I know somebody who could design that for your business. And you bring that in, not only do you get your real estate commission, but you now get a commission from me for bringing in that work.
Right.
So I take salespeople, and I don't try to divert them for what their day-to-day is. I try to add
Sure.
to their day-to-day. So this way, it helps me out. I don't have to pay a salesperson a salary, right? Because they're already doing what they're doing. I'm not taking them away from that. So they already have their salary, and then I just add on to their salary, and they can do this in their spare time while
sure.
they're doing what they do.
For
So,
sure. And I know you said before we were talking, you said you kind of had a pivotal point recently, right? So like,
yes.
tell me a little bit about that pivotal point and like what the rest of this year is going to look like.
Okay, so one of the biggest problems I had in the design industry, and a lot of designers, we have this thing where we're designers, we're creatives, we love what we do, we want to make the most beautiful thing, but we don't really pay attention to the money part.
For sure.
The part where, you're supposed to get paid for your skill or your talent, right? So I was one that I love what I do so much I would do it for free. But I don't know if you remember, do you guys remember a quote from Batman with Heath Ledger when they called him crazy? And he was like, listen, if you're good at something,
Yeah.
never do it for free.
Yeah.
Right? It's actually
Yeah.
on my wall. That whole thing is on
Yeah.
my wall. So
That's dope.
what I did is that I had to seek out a business coach or something that I can learn. Like, why am I failing so bad with the money part? I'm making some of the projects I was doing at the time, I'm losing money. That doesn't make sense. You're not in business to lose money. You're in business to make money, right? So I was like, I got to find something out there that's going to work. So I found a gentleman by the name of Michael Janda. He has a podcast and a whole course on creatives, how to make a creative agency or to become a boutique creative agency, or you could just be a freelancer.
Sure.
But he tells you how the whole payment structure should be and how you should be charging your customers and how you should not be scared to tell your customers what you're worth. And I took his course, and it was so eye-opening to me. He had in the course paperwork. like how to contract your customers, how to contract the people who work for you as 1099
Right.
employees. I have 1099 employees now. I never had that before. He taught all these things. And then the other pivotal part was Chris Doe from the future. His podcast is so powerful. His whiteboards are so powerful for creatives that it turned my whole business around in 3 weeks. And that is no part of my language, but that's no BS. Like it is for real. Like I went from hoping to do a job to closing a over $70,000 project in the last 3 weeks. And now I'm looking to close another $125,000 project.
You think that's just because how you're walking, like what you're putting in is kind of what you're getting out?
Yes, it's that. And I also believe that once I changed my whole way of thinking and seeing how the design industry is supposed to work, I was competing with people who are on Fiverr, right?
Right.
There's no reason I should be competing with those people.
Yeah.
The reason why is because those people are in different countries. Those different countries, the cost of living is totally different from America, right? So why am I competing with somebody who would do
You're trying to make a living wage in India, and you live in Atlanta.
Exactly. So somebody who will do a logo for $5, how's that? I'm doing this work for $5. That means I'm not even working. I could go to McDonald's and make more money than that working there.
Fact.
So I'm like, I got to get out of the fact of competing against these people who are on Fiverr. I got to compete against the designers who are here. And maybe not even compete. Maybe I could just put myself in another demographic. And that's what I did. I started putting myself in another demographic. I started being real with myself and say, hey, this is my work. This is the level of work I'm doing. I'm doing, like, my motion graphics is at the level of, like, what you see on TV. So why am I giving it away? Literally giving it away for like $300, $400. And as soon as I started raising my prices, but then showing the right people what I could do, it's like a no-brainer.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's tough. That's tough. So what's the rest of this year gonna look like?
Rest of this year,
I want to know your confident prediction too.
Okay,
not your humble prediction.
Yeah, my confident prediction. I set a goal at the beginning of this year that I would want my company to make its first, right? But my real number at the end of the year, gross profit margin, is going to look over 1,000.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So next year,
That's
man, that's
solid.
That's really good.
It's
And
solid.
You know what else is crazy is that I'm not even talking about my projects that I have coming in that are offshoots from accounts. So I don't even tell you the truth, I don't even know how much this year is going to gross. But I know next year I sat with an accountant and they said, well, yeah, exponential growth.
Yeah.
Next year you should be.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
So,
Man, it shows to like, if you persist in your industry, you can do some cool stuff.
yes, you can. But you do need people to help you.
For sure.
And
For sure.
One of the biggest things is that I would tell anybody, look for mentorship. I contacted Michael Janda personally on Instagram and said, hey, I need you to mentor me. I've been in the industry too long. I don't know what's broken here. And you know what he said? Yep. He even gave me a free mentorship over Instagram. And he told me, hey, listen, man, don't be afraid to ask for what you deserved. And he actually looked at my artwork and was like, you're better than a lot of guys out there.
Right.
So that's another thing with designers. It doesn't matter how good you are. It really doesn't. It's about the service that you give to someone.
For sure.
We're in the business of customer service and sales. That's what we are.
Absolutely.
It just happens to be that you design. That's it.
Yeah, that's just the vehicle.
Exactly. So it doesn't really matter how good you are. There's guys out there who are stupendous but can't make a penny.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's all about that, and reach out to somebody who can help you. That's big, because and you have to be true to yourself about what you need help with.
Yeah, for sure. We are huge advocates of that here is ask. Like if we can help you, whether it's connect you to somebody in our network that knows more than us, or we can give you our 2 cents, or we can help with some process or whatever, you got to ask.
Right.
Because like our clients are the same way. Like sometimes they tell us, oh, I've been experiencing this for a while. And I'm like, oh, that's one button in the settings, but I can't read your mind. You know what I mean? Like it's if you ask people, like their honest feedback with no fear of what the answer is going to be, people want to help you. I think that's a very human trait.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
if you approach people the right way, I think people really do want to help you.
Yes, people do. Actually, I got a funny story about that. When I was in school for digital arts and animation, I had took some time off because my oldest daughter was being born.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked, before I left, I asked my teachers, I said, hey, I want to learn how to do character rigging. And they were like, oh, you don't need to know that. You know, the industry doesn't really call for that or whatever. I'm
Yeah,
like,
right.
yeah, but I still want to learn it, right?
Yeah, right.
So
Until you need it.
exactly.
And it's super complicated.
It is super complicated, but that never scared me.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think our minds work very similarly because,
Yeah.
like, your line of work and live production in general, right, are very similar in that there is a way that it works best. Like there is research and science, and there's somebody that's been doing it for 20 years that can tell you how it should be done.
Yeah.
But then there's also your creative opinion on that same problem.
Right.
I think that's what I enjoy the most about it, because like I do weird stuff. Like my style live production wise is very different.
Right.
My lighting style is very different.
Right.
My positioning is very different than a lot of people as far as live production stuff goes, but it just gives it such a unique, like very cinematic, like very, very linear storytelling type of stuff.
Right.
In your field, it's no different.
Yeah.
Like there are ways that it works. There's research and there's numbers and there's data.
Yeah.
And then there's what makes you you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I think that's the biggest thing is why you shouldn't be so afraid, just not you, but just people in general, like in any industry. Like you are a tremendous percentage of the value that you bring to anybody that is giving you dollars.
Yeah, that's 100% right.
For sure. There is no out of the box thing that they can interact with on the computer that would do it, or they would have done it because it would have been cheaper. They would have been looking for that experience. But people still sell stuff to people.
Of course.
For sure.
Of course. And back to what you were saying about people want to help people.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was my teachers wouldn't teach it to me, right? Or maybe they didn't know. I didn't know. But what I did is that I reached out to a kid that I found on 3D Total, 15 years old. He was in Romania, and he taught me how to rig. When I went back to school 3 months later, I had a character walking, looking, doing stuff, and my teachers were looking at it, and they were like, how did you do that?
Yeah.
That's when I looked at them, and I was like, are you serious? And they were like, yeah. I was like, why am I in school?
Yeah.
Like, I should be in the field right now.
For sure.
I'm like, I'm not coming back. Like, this is it for me. You guys taught me everything I needed to know, but now I need to jump in. But that kid, 15 years old, he was like, sure, I'll teach you. You know how much he could have charged me to teach me how to rig like that?
Probably a ton.
Yeah.
Thousands.
He helped me out tremendous. Yep.
No, that's insane. It is it's insane. I think the baseline of all of those things is just the human interaction part of it, right? Whether it's people helping you or people doing business with you or people asking you questions or people mentoring you, like it definitely takes a village.
It does. It does. It definitely does. And then it takes a lot of perserverance too.
For sure.
You're gonna have your ups, your lows when you're an entrepreneur.
It has a way of mentally testing you.
Yes.
Their life, there's only really two things that I've ever experienced in that, right? So like my first life was basketball. I played basketball for 20 years. And after that, when sales kind of became the thing, you know what I mean? And then like production and all the other things that you just kind of like add to the bucket over time, like it's kind of hard to explain. Let me think about exactly what I'm trying to articulate.
You know
here.
how you
like,
said that me and you are kindred spirits?
Yeah.
Well, what you're saying right now is almost similar to me. I did martial arts. Actually, I just got promoted a couple months ago, so 5th degree.
What do you do?
I do jiu-jitsu.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where at?
In New York. My style was DMAC Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, nice.
And I trained under Pastor Reverend Bryant, Soke Lil John Davis, Professor.
Have you found somewhere to train here?
No, not yet. I kind of took a hiatus from it. I have some injuries that just never really healed that well, so I started teaching.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu actually helped me with some of my injuries. That's why I quit playing basketball.
Really?
Yeah, I destroyed my knee and then started doing jiu-jitsu maybe 2 years after that.
Nice.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I enjoy jiu-jitsu. I actually have I don't know how much, like, a lot of people like to roll or like, free roll and stuff like that. Like I enjoy that too, but like the first place that I ever went was when I was in high school, my best friend's like a state champion wrestler. You know
Okay.
what I mean? And so our coach teaches jiu-jitsu at a place kind of near you, like in Hiram, kind of.
Okay.
He's a purple belt, and he'll hurt you. You know, just physically a very overbearing guy physically, you know?
Right.
And so, no, I started doing that. But and they do a lot of wrestling and stuff like that too. But if you're interested, I can definitely bring you up there. They're good guys.
I would definitely like to get back into
You train in
it.
a gi?
I train in a gi, yes.
Yeah, nice.
You want to hear something funny? I don't know if you ever heard of a dart stroke?
For sure.
Okay.
Trust me, you're speaking my language right now.
I grew up with Joe Diarcy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in New York. Yeah, I know his cousins and everything. Like, yep.
No
He
kidding.
used to come around and beat the whole wrestling team.
I believe that.
I'm dead serious.
I believe that.
Yeah, so that's how deep my martial arts lineage goes. Like,
I
it goes
enjoy
back
that.
like
Well, New York's a wonderful place to do it too. I mean,
Yes,
there is
yes, it is.
incredible. You've got a lot of Gracie up there in New York.
Yes.
You've got a lot of Gracie,
Yes. I do a mixture.
Gracie Baja, stuff like that.
Yeah, the jiu-jitsu that I study,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of stand-up. There is a lot of ground. We did wrestling. One of the black belts from my school is New York State champion.
Oh,
wrestling
really?
And stuff like that. We do
So
a
what are
little
they
bit of
doing? They're
everything.
taking people down and trying to finish people from top.
Sometimes we
Really?
can go anywhere. The style
Pull
of jiu-jitsu,
guard, anywhere?
yeah. But we do a lot of stand-up. Like
Nice.
my specialty really
Yeah.
was kicking and stuff like that. But
Really?
my groundwork, like guard work,
Yeah.
was good.
That's what I enjoy the most, I think, because I've done a lot of striking training and stuff like that too. I actually went and in the UFC, there's 3 brothers. They're all related. This guy trains in Gwinnett. I wish I could think of it. It's mind blowing me that I have. But I went did striking training there. But yeah, I enjoy martial arts too. But like that was actually what I was saying. Like I play pool now, right?
Okay.
Billiards has
Nice.
been the thing that I've kind of poured myself into. But
Nice.
like sales, basketball really didn't do it for me because basketball I was always pretty good at, and it was really just always trying to find the place to play better. But when you take like the athleticism side out of things,
Right.
dude, stuff has a way of testing you and making sure that you're still locked in to do it before it lets you take that big leap. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I shoot the worst pool of my life, and then like 2 or 3 weeks later, I'm just a completely different player than I was 2 months ago.
Like you tapped
You
in,
know?
right? Like you're focused,
Like literally,
you're
it's
tapped in.
like it's literally like the universe had to make me earn my level up by making me mentally go through it that almost made me quit before it'll give it to you.
Yes, you're
I
right.
think that's very true of business as
100%.
well.
Yep,
You know what I mean?
100%.
Well, tell me this, right? We always talk about skills here.
Mm-hmm.
What was really, really easy at the beginning? What did you do really, really well at the beginning of your business? And obviously, kind of being really good at your craft is one of those things.
Yeah, that's it.
And then tell me what was really, really difficult. Like if you
Okay.
could go back to day one of your business and take one of those skills that you have right now and replace it with something on day one, what would that be?
Me personally, I taught myself. I'm self-taught front-end web developer.
Oh, nice.
And I do motion graphics. I do graphic design. My team does graphic design, motion development. But the thing that I would do to trade is I would have maybe took the front end web development out for a little while and maybe taught myself that later to be a better salesperson. Like I
Yeah.
told you what the
Yeah,
tips
spent more
that I
time
went
in the business.
to.
Yeah,
Yeah, instead of on the spent more time on the business.
on instead of in. Yeah,
Right, and that's one of the things I would have done a trade off for
sure.
because I feel like I'm pretty good front end web developer,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't use it day to day. But guess what? I do sales day to
Yeah.
day. I do customer relationships every day to day.
Yeah.
I do email marketing. I do all this stuff day to day. Where if I would have done that instead of spending so much time doing that, I don't know where I'd be right now. I don't know.
Well, dude, you're super. I don't know. Maybe we're good at what we do, but you're super nice, man. You're super easy to talk to. Like
Thank you.
it's not hard. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm trying. Like Ezra's brand new to sales, right? Not to pick on Ezra, but like Ezra's brand new. Like Ezra's been doing sales for 5 days. For 5 days.
5 days.
Yeah, for
Wow.
sure. And so, like, when you start in our industry, you get a list and you got to call them. And it's because it's really the only way to learn.
Yes.
It
yeah.
really is. Like,
Throw 'em
you
into the
can go
fire.
out there and knock on doors and stuff like that, and you're going to do some of that too, and it won't be near as bad as the phones, but you just gotta get in the habit of creating those planting those seeds.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so, like, being brand new to sales, right? In 2 years, Israel will be able to maybe not render the service, but start a business in any industry.
That's amazing.
In any industry. Just because from what is required of us on the credit card processing side, you have to know so much about who their clients are and what type of payments they're taking and where they are and what those demographics. You have to think of so many things that go through what actually makes up the pricing of a credit card processing deal to figure out how to even make it profitable.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So like you have to look so deep inside of businesses that you will have some industry knowledge of every industry that takes credit cards, at least. You ain't gonna know shit about real estate, but you'll know a lot about everything else.
Right.
You're not gonna know anything about mortgages, but everything B2B related, you'll kind of know a lot about.
That's
so
excellent.
it's a weird learning thing in our industry. It really is. And yours kind of too. Yeah. And I'll tell you this, right? So like going back to like what I was saying about you're nice and things like that. Mm-hmm. It's funny to me just from like the outside looking in, just to give you some of my perspective, how you talk about your value related to your skills, right? Because we are trained to be the exact opposite of that. And I'll elaborate a little bit more, right? So in the graphic design world, constantly in your mind, you're kicking around like, what is the next skill that I need to learn? Or like, what is the next thing that I need to add on top of something that I'm already good at to really keep up with the technology innovation or the standard of my industry, right? We think about that probably 1% of the time, right? And I'll tell you why is because we spend so much time thinking about the sales side of things and our value being our ability to create relationships with people that like what we're good at and what we suck at, we'll figure out later. That's literally our mindset. Yeah. Like I am so thankful to be in a position in my business that my job is being nice to nice people that own businesses all day long. Like, dude, what are we talking about? My business is not difficult, right? Like, yeah, you got to get out of the house. You got to go talk to people. You have to let people know what you do. And you're going to get some calls and you're going to have to fix stuff at night you don't want to go fix. Like, dude, you have to, I invite people to my podcast and I let them chat about what it is that they do and I learn from them so that I can go do my own thing.
That's
right?
beautiful.
Like, my little brother just graduated college, right? First thing I told him is don't go get a job. Don't get used to making money.
Right.
Pick an industry and we'll do it. I can do all the marketing. I can do some of the web development. I can do enough web development. You know what I mean? Like I can do enough photography. I can do all the videography and editing, right? I can do all the scheduling, right? I can do all the quoting on the weekends. Right. So like, dude, just do it. Just do something. Just do anything. Just don't battery died. You can just go to the other one. But yeah, that the business world's crazy. The business world is insane. The skills that you pick up and the value in sales and business acumen is just goes super underspoken about, I guess.
Yeah, it's underappreciated too.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, a lot of designers say, hey, if you're good enough, then you don't have to do sales, right? Because the work will speak for itself. No, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work that way.
Have you ever built a logo for somebody that was so good that their business just skyrocketed? I mean, maybe the people behind it are good enough. The brand is really good and the people doing work is good enough. But a logo doesn't just stand on its own to me.
No, it doesn't. Because you have to have marketing behind it.
Sure.
You have to have people to put in people's faces, right?
Sure. And at some point, almost always, there will be a human-on-human interaction.
Exactly.
At some point.
Exactly. And the thing is that, sometimes people will let you work. Sometimes people won't. They'll guide you and hold your hand throughout the whole thing. And it's like, well, that's not something that I had picked out for you. You wanted something iconic that's going to transcend time, right?
Sure.
That right there is of the moment.
Yeah.
3 years from now, the industry will totally be different. So now your logo's old.
Facts.
But if you look at certain logos that transcend the test of time, McDonald's, FedEx, these are 100, 200-year-old logos that are still here. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why is that? Because they're easy to recognize.
Yeah.
Some customers don't understand that.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I have done some logos that I actually did one logo for the mayor of Miami for his doctor's office. And
The mayor of Miami is a doctor?
Yeah, he was. Well,
Sick.
North Miami. I don't know if he's still the mayor. At the time when I did it, he was the mayor. But yeah, he used that logo, and he's still using that logo today. I created it for him 10 years ago.
Wow.
And
I bet you're in some interesting conversations as the mayor of Miami that is a doctor.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to look at your work.
Okay.
We have a little video that you've put together so kindly for us. Yeah, open your Google and drag it over here. The top. You got to grab like, yeah. No. Yeah. Just grab where the pink is. Nice. Yeah, just drag it all the way over here. Nice. Yeah, a little more. Yeah, now full screen it. More. Just drag it all the way.
The box at the top.
Look over here. Yeah, just look over here. Yeah, now just full screen it. Now the video. Solid.
All right, so what this is that I did a intro.
Click that X up there. My bad. Turn it back for me one more time. Dude, cause like I can see behind the scenes of all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. That's so much work. Yeah, run it back
it
for
was
me
a
one
lot
more
of
time.
work.
Yeah, the shapes.
Yes,
The
geometric
shapes?
shapes and everything like that. Yes.
Yeah,
and trying
right.
to get them to go together. And actually, about post production and stuff like that. So After Effects. So this is Edwin Moses. He was a Olympian, and supposedly he holds the record for most wins. Most
race wins?
Race. Yep, in history.
Yeah, that's
So they're
just
doing
insane.
they're doing a
Wheaties
documentary.
box?
Huh?
He
Yep.
was on
Yeah,
the
he was on the
Wheaties
Wheaties box. Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did this for
That's
them.
hard.
And I had fun with that project. You know, it was a lot of fun. So that's some of the
Yeah, you
work.
can just
that
come
we've
over here and
done.
X it out. No, that's cool. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, what you're doing is really cool. Like what you're doing is really, really creative. Yeah, go to that other scene and then transition. Yeah, click 2 and then, man, you're on it. But no, what you're doing is really cool, man. I
appreciate it.
aspire to have some of those skills just because I enjoy having those skills, and I aspire to being able to help you with your business. Hopefully,
Thank
I can
you. I appreciate
connect you some people within our network and keep you connected with some of the stuff that we do on a day-to-day basis. Where if there's anything that we need, hopefully we can be a resource.
Definitely, I definitely would love to work with you guys. This is a beautiful setup. I'm thankful that you guys had me come in today. You guys have done a bang up job.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Well, how we always end the podcast is a little ode to our name. All right. What does it feel like to burn the ship? What's it feel like to go all in on your business? You know, I often describe it as a light switch moment, and that moment's different for everybody. It may be when you got your first client, or you completed your first project, or you got out of that first sales meeting and unbuttoned your top button and cut loose. But everybody has that light switch moment that they flip and they say, okay, I'm an entrepreneur now, and I'm going all in on my business. What does that feel like?
You want to know, it feels great, but you want to know something? I actually thought about it when you told me what Burn the Ship was and what you said behind it. That kind of was, I had a burn the ship moment when I started my business at brick and mortar because I couldn't get a job, right? So I couldn't get a job. So it's like, okay, we now reached the beach and we're burning the ship.
Yeah.
And I can't go back now. There is no other option. There is no, I can fall back on this. This has to work. There is no other choice. So, yeah, I would say when I started my brick and mortar, that was the burn the ship moment for me, where I got to make ends meet. I gotta see this through, and it has to happen.
For sure.
Yeah, no
For
choice.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's where we are. That's where we are in business, where we are in life. But it's cool, my friend. I appreciate you coming out, man. It
Thank you
has
so
been
much.
awesome to meet you. It's been awesome to
you
have
too.
this conversation.
You too.
I'll edit this sometime over the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
We'll get it out there in the world.
Definitely.
And then we'll do it again.